I was someone who hated exercise to the point of dreading my entire day if it included a planned workout. I'd use any flimsy excuse like, oh, too much traffic, I'll be late, so let's just skip it. And then when I did exercise, I'd leave the gym wondering, what exercise high? That was exhausting. Fast forward to 8 years later, and I cannot believe that I signed up for a 42-day hike crossing all of northern Spain, which includes training for it and all the ways I hated before. What changed was I discovered this one technique that no other YouTube video, Instagram post, or TikTok is talking about. It made exercise easy, fun, and still produce the results I wanted. And in 12 minutes, you will be able to start using this technique immediately to change your life. Tell me if you relate to any of this. Since I hated exercise, I'd only do it because I was told it helps with calorie burn and therefore weight loss, which meant I had this weird reward-punishment thing going between food and exercise. Meaning the only times I remember feeling motivated to exercise was if I had overeaten to the point of guilt. This would kickstart 2 to 3 weeks of intense exercising with what I found online were touted to be the best workouts for weight loss, like HIIT or weightlifting. And while I did enjoy the feeling of accomplishment after each session, I never looked forward to the next session. I mean, exercise just couldn't compete with other things I could be doing. I felt more of a high after an episode of Orphan Black than exercising for sure. But I'd usually be able to maintain the schedule until the 2 to 3 week mark. Then work would start creeping into my planned exercise times. One day, I'd wake up worried about meeting the deadline for a task I had that day. I'd think, let me finish this task first and I'll go in the evening. But my willpower is even worse after a whole day of work, so 90% of the time, I wouldn't make it to the evening workout. Then I'd get home and think, well, I didn't work out today, but I have been so good. I deserve a little break, a little treat. But then one treat would turn into 2, then 3, until again I have overeaten. Sometimes this would cause me to get back to exercising like a maniac the next day, but many times I was already feeling burnt out from exercising. So I'd think, well, I've blown it now, might as well start again tomorrow. But then the next day, I'd think, I have another work deadline. Let me do that first, I'll get back to exercising tomorrow. Until tomorrow is months later and I'm stepping on the scale to find myself again at my previous high weight. Then magically, time would free up to get back to my intense working out. And on this merry-go-round went. And with each round, I'd pile proof after proof that I don't have time to exercise. I hate exercise. I'm just not athletic. And I know what to do, but I lack willpower, motivation, and discipline. Unlike all those people on social media and even some of my friends who relish a workout session. I am just not like them. I felt it was unfair that I had to force myself into these strict exercise schedules and tracking and counting everything I ate while so many of my friends did none of that and had healthy and fit bodies. I felt helpless because despite feeling this was unfair, I also felt, what choice do I have? I felt uncomfortable in my own skin. I already hated shopping in the larger size section where the clothes never fit me right. But this was so much worse during the summer. I felt even more uncomfortable in lighter, poor-fitting clothes that more visibly showed my body. I was declining invitations from friends to easy 1-hour hikes because I was afraid I'd slow everyone down. I was passing on opportunities to do things I wanted to do, like kayaking, swimming, biking, because I felt embarrassed picturing how slow and clumsy I would be. Even group fitness classes made me self-conscious and took up a lot of my courage to show up solo. I definitely couldn't meet my friends at these classes because I was embarrassed to have them see how out of shape I was. I felt lonely in my journey. I felt a pervasive sense of fear that I'm missing out on so much of life as I keep pulling away from people, experiences, and opportunities. And with each round of trying to do the right thing, of exercising correctly and dieting correctly, and yet failing over and over again, my sense of helplessness grew and grew and grew. Then in February of 2015, I was vacationing on the island of Kauai in Hawaii. At this point in my journey, I was focused on doing exercises that I thought were cool instead of purely best at weight loss. Specifically, I wanted to do bodyweight skills like planche and flag. I also reduced the time I spent on exercising to 2 times a week. And despite the time reduction and increased enjoyment, my consistency still wavered. Every 2 to 3 weeks, just like before, I'd still fall off the wagon. I was in one of those slumps when I went to Hawaii, and my plan was to get back on the wagon upon my return to Seattle. But things happened on that island that changed my life forever. It was on day 2 of the vacation that my friend insisted we hike the sleeping giant. My old fears of slowing my friend down and her seeing how out of shape I was creeped up on me. It had rained the previous day, so the path was muddy, and much to my embarrassment today, I remember voicing the paper-thin excuse of, "But it's so muddy, my shoes will get dirty." Ugh. But then my friend said, "Okay, I'll go up and you stay here." And I felt more weird about just hanging at the bottom of the rock, waiting for my friend to return while people walked past me, glancing sideways and wondering why I was partially blocking the path. So screwing up my courage, I said, "I'm slower than you." And she said, "That's okay, it's beautiful on the way up. I want to go slow." So I said, "Is it okay if I set the pace then?" And she said, "Sure." This eased my fear of being left in the dust, literally, and we started our hike up. She was right, it really was beautiful all the way up. And the view? Wow. We sat there at the top for a long while, gazing at the horizon. And as happens when we're struck by the grandness of nature and how small we are in the scale of the universe, the conversation turned to life. Capital L, life. Am I happy right now? What scares me most about the future? What am I holding on to that I need to let go? What is my dream life? That last one struck a chord. It suddenly clicked for me that this hike, this experience, this sense of awe I was feeling, I wanted to feel more of it. And what made me feel awe was not bodyweight skills. Well, they do make me go, but they don't make me feel alive. To savor the beauty of life, whether it be the excitement and adventure of getting to places or the quiet contentment of basking in it. I didn't put up much of a fight after that when my friend wanted to hike to Awapuhi, go swimming in Waipu Falls, or kayaking in the Wailua River. And when I returned to Seattle, I never went back to doing my old way of things. Instead, I focused on hiking Mount Si, kayaking in San Juan during bioluminescence season, biking the Burt Gilman to Wooden Will, and celebrating the half-day ride with good food and music at an Earth, Wind, and Fire concert at Chateau Saint Michel's. All of my day-to-day training and eating snapped to preparing my body and mind for these adventures. And suddenly, the same exercises that I used to dread, strength training, HIIT, endurance, transformed into things I enjoyed and loved making time for. I started seeing the fat loss and muscle gain I had dreamed for years just happen with an ease that I had thought impossible for me to ever achieve. And that's not even the best part. What was even more surprising was how so many of my old fears fell away. I was no longer worried about being unable to keep up on hikes with friends because I trained for it day to day and chose friends I felt comfortable with. I was no longer nervous to show up to beach volleyball at Golden Gardens because it was an experience I cherished. I was no longer scared of poor overeating at socials because everything I was doing made me trust myself to be a good caretaker of my body and mind. And all of this brought peace, ease, and enjoyment to my day-to-day. I became comfortable in my own skin because I was no longer just existing in it, but truly living, fully and unapologetically. The one simple technique that changed everything was bringing my dream life to the present. I was no longer waiting to reach my goal weight to start living. I cut time out and decided to start living now. So for you, what is the point of your goal body? And it's okay if you don't know what it is with 100% clarity and certainty. Picture the life ahead of you as a choose your own adventure map. In this version of the map, there are multiple destinations and multiple routes to each destination. Start by taking a guess at a few of the destinations, aka goals, you think you'd love. For example, it could be the feeling of awe goal that I have, and the route there that I enjoy is participating in off the beaten path adventures. Your goal or destination could still be to feel awe, but maybe your guess as to the route there may be to lead Boy or Girl Scouts in outdoor activities, or to have more family camping trips. Or maybe another guess for a destination could be to feel powerful in your body. And your route there could be the same as mine with the off the beaten path adventures, or it could be the bodyweight skills route I thought I'd love, or it could be participating in sports like soccer, tennis, or jiu-jitsu. The goal or destination is the feeling you want to have more of in your life. And the route are the activities that create those feelings. Start by guessing 1 to 3 feelings and 1 to 3 routes per feeling. It is by design that the destination is a feeling because it will force you to think of reasons that are more intrinsic. Your dream life must not be 100% external rewards focused because those don't last. You will keep losing motivation and route, and if you do manage to white knuckle your way there, you will return to your old habits because there's nothing inside you that blossoms from being at that destination. Another thing that I love about this choose your own adventure mindset is hitting dead ends or quitting on a route to go for another route are part of the process. you learn more and more about yourself so you can make better and better guesses at what destination and route is a fit for you specifically. When I started approaching exercise this way, getting to my dream body and life became inevitable and felt fast, easy, and simple because I was already living it now. But how do you turn this Choose Your Own Adventure map into daily systems so that you're actually learning the right lessons from your trials? This is why you don't want to ignore this video where I break down the exact daily systems I used to get to my goal body within 1 year. And I still use the system to this day. So watch this video next for this step-by-step breakdown of the daily system that'll accelerate your weight loss journey. And always remember, you can do it.